Well, it's been another week, and once again, it's been another miserable week to be a Dolphins fan. Welcome back to the AlphaGinger Show, everybody, and once again, I'm doing my weekly fantasy football kind of update / give you hints and advice on who to pick up for the next week. So, I wanted to start this week off instead of going over my roster. I want to actually go over the pickups, trades, and who I think is going to be really good going into week 3. I want to start with that this week, and then at the end I'll go over how well my team did. All right? Sound good? Good. So the first wide receiver I think people should be looking to actually start this week, not just roster, I mean start, is Kenny Golladay. He is going to do terrific this week, and here's why. The Philadelphia Eagles are who he is up against this week, and they just gave up 100 receiving yards to both Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley in the same night. That's pretty bad. I think you could see a very similar performance out of Kenny Golladay with Matt Stafford throwing strikes to him the entire game. Next one up is Sammy Watkins. He's going to be up against the Ravens. Now, I know the Ravens are a little more formidable defense than the Chiefs have faced so far, but he's still getting bombs from Patrick Mahomes. So he's always going to be a consideration for a good fantasy value. So look to start him, if anything, as a flex. And then for my third and final pick for wide receiver this week going into week 3, I think I've got a Thielen. See what I did there? See what I did there? Try to start Adam Thielen if you have him. I think he's going to have a really good week this week. I think Kirk Cousins is going to have a bounce back week after that loss to the Green Bay Packers. So try to pick up Adam Thielen. He's always a consistent choice, especially after his breakout performance last year. I think that's going to continue through this year. I don't think last week was some bad week for... I think week 3 is going to be a stellar week for Adam Thielen. Could be very wrong, but I have a Thielen. I have a very strong Thielen. So moving on to quarterbacks, the 3 quarterbacks I'm choosing this week are pretty obvious picks, but most of you are going to have 2 on your roster, so you need to choose which one to play. So these are the 3 I think are going to be outstanding this week for sure. Number 1, Patrick Mahomes. Look, if you have Patrick Mahomes and you are actually considering not playing him this week because he's against the Ravens, you're stupid. I'm sorry, but you're stupid. Patrick Mahomes is beyond a matchup issue. He doesn't have matchup issues. He just throws darts all day. He's got free real estate all day. And it's not to just one target. He's got like a million targets that are speedy little dudes that catch the ball. So start him. I don't care who he's against. Just start him. On that note, since he's facing the Ravens, I suggest you start Lamar Jackson. I have Lamar Jackson, and I'm for sure starting him. Why? Because the Chiefs' defense is still not very good. It's better than last year, but not very good. And Lamar Jackson is proving all the doubters wrong, me included, that he can actually throw the ball this year. And obviously, after this last week's performance, he's proven that he can still run the ball too, because he ran for over 100 yards while still throwing for over 250 yards, I think, and getting 2 touchdown passes. That's insane. That's insane. So start Lamar Jackson if you have him. I know I am. Just do it. On that note, the final quarterback I suggest for this week is a very simple choice as well. Dak Prescott. Why would I say Dak Prescott, even though I hate everything about the Cowboys and literally everyone that just is part of the organization of the Dallas Cowboys? Well, it's because one thing. My team, the Miami Dolphins, are who they face this week. And I'm just gonna put it out there. We suck. I'll say it every week if I have to, just to really have it sink in for you. We suck. And Dak Prescott should have a field day. If he doesn't get 20 plus fantasy points, shame on Dak Prescott. And then he'd be proving me right that he is just a miserable quarterback with a really good O-line. Sorry, Cowboy fans. Gotta go there. I gotta go there. Okay? Don't pay the man. Don't pay the man. Speaking of the Dallas Cowboys, moving on to our running backs for the week, I suggest immediately, if you're not planning on starting him, which you're crazy if you don't, start Ezekiel Elliott. Because as for Dak Prescott, he is up against the Miami Dolphins. Or, as I like to call them, the fish tank. Because we're tanking hard. But start Ezekiel Elliott. He'll get you 30, maybe even 100 points this week. I don't know. The sky's the limit for him. They're going to be running the ball all day. If they don't decide to bench him in the second quarter, then he might actually get 100 fantasy points. Again, there is no ceiling for this week. He's against a historically bad Miami Dolphins team. And then we have Austin Eckler. And he has a pretty good matchup this week, I would say. He's up against the Houston Texans. And they're kind of a mismatch kind of. I don't know what to think of the Texans this year. They're not doing well against pass receiving running backs. That is for sure. So I would definitely try to start anyone along the lines of Austin Eckler. Justin Jackson might even be a good option, and he's Eckler's glorified backup. But start Eckler for sure. He's going to have a field day once again. That's why he's the number one running back. I'm starting him. I know I am. So if you have him, start him as well. And then finally, I would also play Nick Chubb if you have Nick Chubb. I know the matchup against the Rams is kind of daunting because you hear Rams, you think they're really good on defense. But they're not doing as well against the run as they are against the pass. So I would definitely suggest looking at starting Nick Chubb this week. I think Chubb's going to have a good week. He didn't have a stellar week against the Jets, but I think he's going to have a really good week against the Rams. So I'd suggest starting him. He should get you, I want to say in the 15 to 25 range. Maybe, I don't think 30 is reachable, but 25 is definitely reachable for him. So just start him if you've got him for sure. And then moving on to tight ends, I will suggest once again another Cowboy as a good choice, and that is Jason Witten. Good old Grandpa Witten. Back from his retirement. He's against the Miami Dolphins this week, as I've mentioned numerous times in this video. Start Jason Witten, and you're probably going to get around 10 points at least. I know he's not being used as much as he once was, but it's the Dolphins, and they suck. They suck so bad. Then, also, start Mark Andrews if you have him. Isn't it crazy how awesome he's doing this year? Like, he was literally a nobody last year. I didn't even know he existed last year. I'm going to be perfectly honest. And now, all of a sudden, he is, in fantasy football, in PPR leagues, he is easily the number one tight end out of all tight ends, which is crazy to think about because you've got the likes of Kelsey, Kittle, Ebron, and a couple others that you would think would be right up there. Nope, it's Mark Andrews. And it's because of Lamar Jackson's awesome QB play right now. So ride that train, put him in. He will probably get you a really good score. And he's against the Chiefs defense. Even better. Do it. Do it now. And finally, I've been really high on this guy for the start of the season, and I've suggested him to people before. But if you see Darren Waller on the waiver wire, or maybe you have him on your bench, I'd suggest giving him a look to start this week. I think he's going to have a pretty good time out there. He's easily one of the top 2 targets that Derek Carr likes to go to, and he's got a good rapport with Derek Carr. So definitely try to start him. And then lastly, following a trend I have set since the beginning of this video, if you do not have the Cowboys defense, get the Cowboys defense. If they're somehow on the waivers, pick them up. They are going to have a field day. Did you see what the Patriots defense did to the Dolphins? it's going to be identical. It could easily be worse. There is no ceiling once again for a defense. I can't stress that enough. The defense could get 20 plus points. But with that being said, that's all my top priorities for each position going into week 3. I think all the ones I said are going to do well or well enough to get you that victory for week 3. I'm going to start several of them that I mentioned actually because they've helped me out so far. But moving on to people you should pick up, drop, trade for, whatever, might I suggest, going into week 3, any Chiefs wide receiver. Now, I know I mentioned Sammy Watkins earlier, but might I suggest getting Demarcus Robinson and Mecole Hardman. They both killed it this last week against the Raiders. I thought Sammy Watkins was going to go off again. Wrong. He had an okay week with 10 points in fantasy in a PPR league. But Mecole Hardman and Demarcus Robinson carried the load. They excelled. I was stunned. So literally any Chiefs receiver is Any Chiefs receiver is a viable option going into week 3. I know they're against the Ravens, but again, doesn't matter when you have a QB named Patrick Mahomes. It just doesn't. On that note, might I add a rather unknown wide receiver to the mix here? If he's probably available in your league. I was shocked by who he even was. I didn't even know he existed. But a guy named Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin, he plays for the Washington Redskins, and he has absolutely killed it through 2 weeks of football. He was so unknown that last week when I picked him up in one of my leagues, he had no picture. There was no picture in the app. It was just a gray outline of a body. That's how unknown he is, legitimately. But he has killed it. He has easily developed a good rapport with Case Keenum through the first 2 weeks. I see it continuing as the season progresses and only getting better. So get Terry McLaurin. He's almost completely open in all of leagues. Just get him. He's probably available. Go get him. Go get him. As for a couple people I'm not feeling too good about this week, I'm not so sure about Tyrell Williams this week for the Raiders. He got a little hip pointer after his game against the Chiefs, and he's probably going to play this week, but he's not going to be 100%. And I know he's one of the top targets for Carr, but I just don't see it panning out as well as his first 2 weeks. So as much as I want to hope that he's going to do good this week, I can't trust him. So that's why I actually benched him, and I'm putting Kenny Galladay over him because Kenny Galladay has a matchup for days. And then also, along with the Raiders, I think Josh Jacobs he's gonna do fine, but I don't think he's going to get the 100-yard week that he's been getting the last 2 weeks. Okay, I think it's not going to be anywhere close. I think this is going to kind of be a regression week for him. So, I still think sky's the limit for him as you move along through the season. But as for this next week, I wouldn't trust him as much. I'd find a better option. And then lastly, if I haven't made it abundantly clear this week, if you see any player, granted, not any that are free agent or at the bottom of the list, but if you see any player and it says they're part of the Dallas Cowboys, pick them up. Just for this week, if anything. I can't stress this enough. My team, the Dolphins, are going to give them a field day. It's an automatic bye. We're tanking. Just take the win. Take the fantasy points. Get yourself a Dallas Cowboys player, any position, defense all the way to kicker even. Heck, the kicker's going to have 20 points off of just extra points. Just get anyone that's associated with the Cowboys. Freaking get Tony Romo in commentary. He's going to probably put up 20 fantasy points this week. It's going to be a rough week, as it already has been through 2 weeks for the Dolphins. So it's just going to continue. Get a Dallas Cowboy. You'll be happy you did. And that's it for all my suggestions for week 3. I strongly feel that all of the people I've mentioned will do good, and all the ones I'm not feeling good about, I want them to do good this week, but I just don't see them doing as well as they were. But that being said, let me talk about my team, because my team once again won. So I am 2-0. The Tinker Stinkers are 2-0. It wasn't as pretty as last week because I only scored 116 points this week compared to my 143 last week. But I still won easily by 25 points, something around there. I could have been 20, but my team dominated. And again, I was carried by a terrific Lamar Jackson and a terrific Austin Eckler. The one person that didn't do well for me, and I'm going to keep one more week. I'm giving him 3 strikes. If he strikes out here, he's gone. And that is Adam Vinatieri. I love Adam Vinatieri. He's easily my favorite kicker in all of NFL history. And he kicks for my hometown Indianapolis Colts. But he's having a rough year. He's missed 5 kick opportunities, extra point or non. And it's not a good thing. He was thinking about retiring, and the Colts thankfully talked him out of doing that just this early into the season. But if you got him, that's another person. Don't start him. I'm going to, just because I think maybe he's going to have a bounce back week. I'm not sure. But he can't miss all of his kicks, right? Right? It's Adam frickin' Vinatieri. Come on. But yeah, 2-0 again. I'm easily at the, well, not easily, but I am at the top of my league in total points earned. And I'm close to the bottom in my league for total points allowed, which I know I have no control over that part of it, but it's pretty telling when I have the highest score total and people have scored the least amount against me. It's almost like I have the best team. Recognize. But that is it for this episode. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button below. Also, comment on who you think will do well in week 3 and what your team looks like going into this week 3. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll try to answer them. I'm getting kind of better at this whole fantasy football thing through 4 years of doing it. I kind of understand the ropes now. So if you give me a question, I'll try to answer it best I can. But also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I put out videos like this and other way more entertaining videos, like hilarious videos, impression videos, gaming videos, other stuff. I put them out all the time. So just subscribe to the channel. You get these videos. You get gaming videos. You get impressions videos. You get just comedy videos. You get all of them. It's all in one. I'm a dynamic person. I'm outgoing. I'm funny. Subscribe. Do it now. But, as always, don't quit your daydream. Adios! That hurt. Jeez, I'm beat.